Hello and welcome to another hot day here in Finland, where I'm going to be having a look at the various tags that we have on offer for the flavor dev diary of the day, that being Ayutthaya, the Khmer Empire, and I think that's how you pronounce it at least, and Dai Viet. So, without further ado, let us get into it and have a look around. So, Pavia is back to doing the Tinto flavor posts after Roger took over on that for a little while. For China. So now we're going to be having a look at flavor for the neighboring region of China, that being Dai Viet, Khmer, and Ayutthaya. So I think when we saw the Southeast Asian Tinto maps before, I was like very interested in Ayutthaya, being a very, very small tag that we know by 1444 becomes a regional dominant force, right? Is very much something that I like when I'm looking at these 1337 maps. It's like, oh, this country was like really small here, but then grew to this. I want to try and emulate that. I want to try and do better than that. I want to try and, yeah, that kind of thing. So this tiny little sliver of land will eventually, have quite a lot of land. I want to try and do that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we have for Ayutthaya. So, unfortunately, though, we start with Dai Viet, which, I mean, I shouldn't have said it, unfortunately, but either way. We now have the description in a little text box instead of just being in text in the dev diary. Born from the aftermath of the civil war of the Ngo dynasty from 968, the kingdom of Dai Viet has ever since struggled against the expanding sphere of influence from the Chinese Empire to their north. Although part of the Middle Kingdom, the Vietnamese people had to defend their lands from Mongolian invaders on multiple occasions. On top of external threats, the kingdom also faces the issues of highly decentralized state with autonomous villages and a volatile court life, where hostile actors seek to take over the Dai Viet throne. Despite all these challenges, Dai Viet finds itself in an opportunistic situation as the kingdom of Champa finds itself surrounded by enemies and is ripe for the taking, while Khmer is facing internal decay at every front. The ascension of the kingdom to a dominant empire of Indochina is at hand. Cool. Bro looks like he just smelled a fart, not gonna lie. Decent stats, bit lacking, but okay. Primary culture is Vietnamese. There's 70% of them there. They also have a bunch of Cham, which, I mean, if you're going to be taking over Champa, then, that's probably gonna grow quite significantly. There's also Zhuang and Dai and another one, probably. You are Eastern Buddhist as well, and the majority of your religion, majority of population is Eastern Buddhism. I imagine it's these Cham that are Hindu. Yeah, there's identical numbers. Maybe there is some blending of cultures and religions and stuff that could be happening, so it's not, every Zhuang is a Maoist, or every Cham is a Hindu, or every Dai is a Satsana Phi. Like, something along those lines could work. But either way, we also have the lovely terrain map, which I adore the terrain map. I think it's looking great in these kinds of regions where we have lots of hills and mountains and trees and such. This looks great. This looks fantastic. It's just less good on, open treeless plains is my perspective. Among many, Dai Viet starts with two possible government reforms to select from that are tied to their Confucian and Southeast Asian culture, respectively. We have the three departments, so we have set policy cost, change policy cost, possible government reforms +1, and admin efficiency, which is obviously, that's we've seen this before when we're looking at China. So obviously a really, really good one. Admin efficiency is great, and it's free because government reforms. We also have the mandala system, which gives cultural capacity, which could be very handy for integrating the Champa, monthly legitimacy, allow tributary subjects, and monthly progress to decentralization. And these are not mutually exclusive. You can take both of these. You have a unique... This is an advance. Not a privilege. So just a typo, I assume. And a unique advance here as well. Autonomous villages, giving max rural control +5%. Vietnamese countryside is held together by the strength and cohesion of the Lang, our self-governing villages. These rural communities manage their own affairs, resolve disputes, and organize collective labor. Though humble in appearance, they are a foundation of our society and the bedrock of resistance during times of invasion or famine. Okie dokie. We have a couple of works of art. The Dai Viet Sur Ki, never heard of that, no idea what it is, I apologize. And the An Nam Chi Luok. Both, in Fanlong, which I think is the capital. Regional renowned. Well, I'm not in the region, so it's not renowned to me, I guess. Some more unique advances to the Vietnamese culture. We have possible frontage plus 10% in the Age of Traditions from Tran Hung Dao Tactics. Tran Hung Dao was an imperial prince of Dai Viet decades ago. He served as an officer during the first Mongol invasion of Dai Viet in 1258, and a leading commander during the Second War against the Mongols in 1285 and their third attempt in 1287. During these bloody conflicts, Tran Huang Dao managed to develop tactics which repelled those horsemen consistently. We also have, in the Age of Renaissance, the I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't even know where to begin. NGH? Nagaya? This one. Levy size plus 10. Throughout our history, the the righteous militias have risen in defense of the land during times of great peril. Composed of farmers, scholars, and local patriots, they stood up against foreign invaders and internal tyranny alike. Though irregular in nature, their valor and devotion to the country has made them a formidable force when mobilized. We also have the traditional music, played at courts and performed at annual ceremonies, giving cultural tradition plus 20%. Kartru, giving cultural influence plus 25%. We also have the Gauchi arquebus, infantry power and firearms out. But this is, you take this 100% of the time as soon as you can. A staple in the military, self-produced and adapted to the needs of our troops, the type of arquebus gains not only the praise of the Chinese, but also Western observers. Don Dien giving speed of integration in the Age of Absolutism, and the Thuan Thien giving crown power in the Age of Revolutions. Very nice indeed. There are also some events like the Dai Viet campaign against Champa, which is, like I said, if you're playing here, you're going to want to take, South Vietnam ASAP, because, why wouldn't you? Conflicts between the Kingdom of Dai Viet and the Kingdom of Champa have been present for centuries in the Vietnamese-Cham relations. Once again, the rule of Champa shows weakness, making them ripe for the taking once and for all. So, the book option is Champa will kneel before us, and I guess that will bring you to war against them. 1367 to 1390. That is a long, long war. But we move on to Khmer, which has, the lion's share of the land here, but in the Dai Viet description, it said they were an ailing power. They're having issues. So let's see what those issues are. They've endured for centuries as the undisputed center of Indochina. Ever since their conversion to Theravada, Khmer has been slowly lost its grasp on the undisputed rule of the region. The growing powers to both the west and east of the old capital of Angkor threaten to upset the power dynamic of Indochina. Faced with the difficult upkeep of their irrigation systems and extensive temple complexes, Khmer would have to protect itself from foreign invasion to survive and reclaim its position as the hegemon of Indochina. So, Khmer Empire, what do we got going on here? 2.2 million people, 93% are Khmer, and then you got some Cham that, I'm not gonna lie, is probably. I feel like Champa's just gonna die every game. To Dai Viet or Khmer, it just feels like it's like the cultures are too uniform, and if you're adding just one extra culture to your accepted list, it seems like a pretty good option. It seems like a pretty good option. So, looking at the terrain map mode, this again looks great. Anything with trees and mountains and stuff, or mountains up in the north, looks really, really good. I really do like that. We have a unique building, the Barre, which is also a unique building if you play Civ 7, because Khmer is a Civ there, if I remember correctly, and you could build the Barre there. It's the only other time I've heard of this building. But either way, we get monthly prosperity, population capacity plus 2,000. Base capacity is really nice, and food production plus 20%. This is going to be built in every town and every city, without fail. This is awesome. What year we're able to build these in? Okay, it's the Age of Traditions. You build these instantly, all over the place. A large reservoir of water, these structures will allow greater agricultural investment and grant us the ability to feed our population more reliably. Once constructed, the barriers will need close supervision and constant maintenance to avoid decay. We also have a few works of art. Angkor makes sense to have the Emerald Buddha. We have the Priya Khan Reach, and we have the Priya Lompeng Che. I would have expected, Angkor Wat to be something that we could see here, whether it's a work of art, whether it's a unique building, whether it is something along those lines would have made sense to me. We have some unique advances. The ballista elephants. Elephants are impressive creatures and tower over any other animal we've seen. It's time to utilize these qualities to strike fear into our enemies by using these majestic animals in warfare. Elephants are also able to carry great weight, allowing us to mount war machines on them. Constructing double-stringed crossbows and equipping our elephants with them will create a tool that will allow us to dominate the battlefields better than ever before. We also have the stat block for them. If it's green, I believe it is higher than normal. So, food storage, movement speed, initiative. Oh, no, wait, it's the arrows, right. Maximum strength goes down because 100 would be the base. The combat speed goes down, I guess 2 is the base, but their initiative goes up. But if that's all you're getting from an elephant, I don't know, that feels kind of weak. I don't think in this scenario I would take these. If these are the only things that change, you get less combat speed, you get less dudes, but hey, you go first. No, not really my vibe, I think. That doesn't seem good. But maybe I'm missing something. We have the hydraulic cities giving urban buildings cost minus 5%. Obviously, you take this, then you build this. 5% cheaper. I mean, it's only 5%, but, you take those. Lifeblood of Khmer gives proximity cost. Going to be really handy when it comes to projecting your power across your country. When it's all full of jungle and stuff would be a pretty good idea. We also have the Restoration of Angkor. Okay, this is maybe what you get Angkor Wat from. Great City of Angkor was once a shining beacon of our architectural genius. Due to our outside influences, we had to cut down on our construction efforts. We should connect to the roots of our realm and start constructing new monuments to our splendor again. And then expand the barriers, giving an extra 20% food production, which is actually wild. While existing water reservoirs support our current agricultural demands, we could easily support more people if we were to dig new barriers in other parts of the country, creating the support for new urban hubs for our people. We also have some events, such as the Beret of Angkor. It supplies the city with crucial supply of water during the troubles of the last decades in the succession of Emperor Trasak. It did not receive the attention and care it would have needed, and is slowly losing its efficiency. If you do not act now, Great Water Reservoir could be rendered useless in the future. So, historically, they didn't fix it. Maybe you can do differently. But on to Ayutthaya, which is... you may be thinking, what? I thought we were looking at Ayutthaya. Well, this is the OPM that will form Ayutthaya. The Thai people moved from South China to Indochina centuries ago, where they found a land crossed by trade and influences from both India and China. Drinking from both sources, as well as from the presence of Hinduism and Buddhism, the Thai developed into an identity of their own, creating polities that are able to stand on equal footing to the previously dominating Mon people, who had seen their territory reduced, with many of their old kingdoms being substituted by Thai ones. The Khmer Empire has also seen itself in recent decline as a result, and has lost much of its previous influence. Only time can tell to which heights shall the Thai be able to rise. One of the Mon kingdoms that saw its downfall was that of the Lavo, which was not only conquered by the Thai, but also split into Thai kingdoms of Suphanburi and Lavo. The latter, although retaining the name from the Mon period, was under Thai rule, which forced under the suzerainty of the Khmer Empire. The Khmer has, however, waned over the recent years and has allowed not only the creation of an independent kingdom of Sukhothai, but also Lavo has managed to remove its shackles, and in the midst of these kingdoms and the settlement of Ayutthaya has also developed, showing promise of expansion. You can tell that they've put more care into this than the other tags, right? 3 whole paragraphs for Ayutthaya versus 2 here for Khmer, and actually we got 3 here. But these are shorter. It's shorter. It makes sense in my head. This was longer. This is, it just is. It's more words. But anyway, we have the Kingdom of Ayodhya led by Count, hopefully that changes, Boromracha Singhanavati. Bad Diplo, pretty middling stats overall, to be honest. 172,000 people, 7.5 tax base, potential military force of 4.8k, not great. Kind of small, but it is like an OPM. Sorry, it's an OLM, a unique location minor. Most of its country is Mon, then there is a growing Thai population, and then the lava is there as well. But they're all Tharavda. And then Sukhothai is to its north. That is the other Thai kingdom. But Ayodhya is the one we're talking about. It's the most unique of the countries, as per its starting situation. It's a unique location minor. Let's go! I love that the devs are using my acronym. I love it. Oh, I hope it catches on more. And it becomes just like the standard. It's my mark on the game is I came up with the new acronym, ULM, for small tags. I mean, that would make my day. Anyway, it's a unique location minor that is a subject to of its neighbor Lavo to the north. Okay, so they're a subject of this guy. To the north, the Kingdom of Sukhothai is almost at its height. As a Thai country, it has access to some unique content, such as advances like the religious melting pot, giving tolerance of heretics and heathens. Makes sense. War elephants, giving war elephants. Used in Indochina for generations, both as cavalry supporting the infantry and as personal mount for the kings, who then engage in elephant duels with the opposing leader. Very cool. This one is just the base elephant. Comparing this to other cavalries, although this one has 100 dudes and 4 combat power. The previous elephant ballista had 50 dudes and 1 combat power. And the movement speed was 1.9 rather than 2.5. And the combat speed wasn't even that much. I don't know. Thai elephant cavalry seems just way better than putting a, crossbow on top. We also have the Toi Muay, giving 10% infantry power. Very nice. Torture our soldiers to use in war. It's an unarmed martial art, including punches, grappling, and ground fighting. Oh, it's Muay Thai. Yeah, okay. Ground fighting techniques. Being proficient in it allows our troops to be more deadly in battle, even if they lose their weapons. It's a little bit of. I mean, I don't really have the build for any kind of martial art, but I do know that Muay Thai is one of the only martial arts that actually works in a when you put it up against other martial arts in a form where they're actually trying to fight each other. Like the UFC put, people who knew karate up against people who knew Muay Thai, and Muay Thai just dominated so hard. So it makes sense that we got some infantry power here. Also, Kung Fu also just got demolished. Jiu-Jitsu is another one that's really, really good. Anyway, Phot Duang gives income from minting. Very nice, we like that. Currency may feel strange to outsiders, but Phot Duang has served us well for centuries. Roundish balls of silver and stamped with official marks, they serve as the basis of our economy. We also have closed subjects giving diplomatic annexation cost in the Age of Revolutions. However, Ayodhya has the opportunity to grow and create a new country, Ayutthaya. Having brought together under his rule the territories of Lavo and Ayodhya, now Count Boromracha has set its sights to greater heights. Using his close ties to the people of Suphanburi, he has brought forth a proposal to establish a new city in the land around Ayodhya, from where he aims to rule all the territories as a unified country. The city and this new nation is to be called Ayutthaya, giving it a distinct Thai identity separated from the old Sanskrit of Ayodhya. So yes, you do this, and I guess this is what forms Ayutthaya for you, and you become this. The familiar green that we have seen as well is very nice. With any new step taken, a new unique content will pop up, making for progression from the smaller, weak Ayodhya. Although our administration is certainly successful, Count Boromracha has noticed some gaps in it and has proposed various reforms in order to better streamline the government of the state. While many of these proposals make great sense, they will also be at the cost of upsetting, at least temporarily, the ways the wheels are of our government work. There are many who see these changes with skepticism. I cannot. King Boromir introduced numerous reforms during his reign as King of Ayutthaya. Traditional Thai ministries of Kalathom and Malathai predecessors of nowadays Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Interior. Structured the feudal system and social hierarchy under the Sakdina, stabilized royal succession. Cool. And then you get the Chatu Sadom, giving crown power and efficiency of cabinet. Every time these modifiers come up, I do mention how they are very powerful. I'm going to do it again. These modifiers are very powerful. This government reform is very, very good. Meaning 4 pillars, the Chatu Sadom ministry organization divides the government into 2 branches, military and civil affairs, the latter of which is further divided into 4 ministries, hence the name. The compartmentalization and clear assignment of tasks to each of them makes for a much more effective administration as the extension of the ruler's authority. We also have the potentially powerful regional hegemon of Siam as a formable. 55 locations in the northern Thai homeland, including Dong Lakon and Lop Buri. It may also be created by any other thriving Thai country as Sukhothai. So, that's cool. Is this... I mean, obviously, Ayutthaya is something that I'm very interested in. I've mentioned that already. But is it something that you want to play? You want to give this country a try? Is Ayutthaya on your list of tags? Because for me, it's right up there. Forming Siam, any formable is interesting to me. I like forming countries. I think it's a nice, reward for your campaign. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So, before we go on, of course, we have 2 posts next week. We're going to have a look at the Black Death, and then we're going to have a look at the Mamluks. Very interested in the Black Death. Obviously, I have played through it, so I can give a little bit more insight into maybe things that are happening, and maybe things have changed since I played, because there has been a little bit of a stirring of thinking that the Black Death isn't actually that impactful, isn't that painful. And I want to kind of talk about that as well, because it's not something I agree with, and I think it is very short-sighted. But we'll talk about that next Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how tired I am from work on Wednesday. But anyway, Friday, Mamluks, and right now we're going to have a look at some of the comments that the devs have made after the after this. So first off, the game looks truly amazing. True. I put so much content into it, shows your dedication. 2 questions. Late game, will we do more Tinto talks and flavor about late game content in the coming weeks? We'll talk more about mid and late game mechanics and content in Tinto talks, along with other interesting stuff. Really looking forward to that. Colonization mechanics, is there a way to colonize rapidly with maybe less control? Personally, I think the colonization shouldn't be too slow. It's still being polished and rebalanced, so it's kind of hard to say anything on that front right now. Are the 2 government reforms mutually exclusive? No, they're not. Mandala is the major, but 3 departments isn't. Compass is the icon for implementation time required. And when you hover it, you get the time. It was how it would look if you adopted both at the start of the game, and you get this little timer doodad that it's implementing. I think this is good to have the timer thing, so you're not getting the full benefit of your reform that you've passed instantly. But it still costs you, right? It still cost you the stability, it cost you not prestige, it's just stability, I think. No, legitimacy, sorry. To give reforms to, for instance, the burghers. And you're not getting the full benefit of that instantly. I think that's a good idea, because when I played, I just gave 10 privileges instantly to the burghers, and they were instantly giving me benefits, and sure, I had 0 legitimacy, but you can work around that. This, I do still like this system a lot. Is there stuff about the fall of Angkor, like moving the capital and Khmer becoming the kingdom they are to this day? Not specifically. Instead, we devoted that development time to creating a generic disaster that would fit for any declining empire. The decline of the Khmer Empire here. As the Khmer Empire stretches thin, cracks begin to show. The court is paralyzed under weak leadership, its halls filled with corruption and indecision. Distant provinces, even in Indochina, chafe under neglect, while discontent spreads through the heartlands. Whispers of rebellion echo in the streets, and the once mighty bureaucracy under Emperor Tresek struggles to maintain control. Teachers on the brink, and down come the stars along with our hearts. We lose stability. Grant consolidated corruption of the elites and nobility. This is something that I think the Romans had. The Eastern Romans had the corruption of people privileges. So I guess that is how that happens. And then Decline of the Empire Disaster for the Khmer Empire here. This looks pretty bad. You need to get up to 30 stability to avert it, and increase your control as well. Very cool. And yeah, you have a whole disaster here. This is the generic decline disaster. I like it. Once mighty and unshakable, our empire now teeters on the brink of collapse. Corruption festers within our institutions. Our provinces grow restless under the weight of neglect, and foreign power circles like vultures, eager to carve up what remains of our glory. The golden age that once defined us has now faded into memory, and the cracks in our foundation grow wider with each passing day. If we do not act swiftly to address the rot within and restore control, our empire will crumble, leaving only ruins and regret, a shadow of our former glory. So how does this start, is the question. Fit for any declining empire, but how does one decline? What is the starting trigger for this, is what I would like to know. But yeah, okay, very cool that this is added. Very cool indeed. Is Ayutthaya created by the event? It is created by the event, yes. It's not a normal formable. And then, what flavor do the Cham have? It has its own set of unique advances. And then, do any of the polities in today's Tinter Talk have famous characters that can appear later on? Some of them do, like we have here for, this one was Ayutthaya, where we have Konstantinos Gerakes, the Greek adventurer and merchant, can appear in your country. Most curious foreigners appeared on the land. Konstantinos has sailed all over the world, and his mastery of languages and practical skills clearly show. He's grabbed the attention of our count and will be a very useful addition to the comital court, especially with his skills in accounting. However, the inclusion of a foreigner into a prominent position at court is sure to ruffle some feathers along with most established individuals in our county, who will certainly not see with favourable eyes having their positions replaced. So, historically, he was a Greek adventurer and merchant. His name in England, he was part of the English East India Company. In England, his name was translated from Gerakes to Falcon, and then later changed to Falcon as a re-Hellenization. That's really cool. Worked his way to the court of King Narai as a translator, as he was fluent in Thai, English, French, Portuguese, and Malay. Became a councillor of the king not long after, rising to become highly influential in the Siamese court. Very cool. I like that. I like that a lot. But that's all I have for you today. So, my question to you, of the three countries that we've just read about, Dai Viet, Khmer, and Ayutthaya, which one are you most interested in playing? I would like to hear your thoughts. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.